Welcome to this unit on the determinants of tax compliance. Today we explore why people pay taxes and what factors influence their decisions. Taxation isn't just about money. It's a key part of the relationship between citizens and the state. Paying taxes goes beyond a financial obligation. It's a form of recognition of one's role in the society. However, not everyone complies with tax rules, and this creates problems for governments, but not only in terms of revenue, but also legitimacy. So the question here is, what makes people comply or not with tax obligations? And to answer this, we'll look at the three levels of factors: micro, meso, and macro. First, let's start with the micro level, which focuses on personal characteristics and direct incentives. Research shows that personal traits like age, gender, pro-social preferences, and emotions can influence tax compliance. For example, research suggests that women are generally more compliant than men, and older people are more likely to follow tax rules than younger individuals due to stronger moral attitudes about social norms and duties. These differences can also be linked to psychological factors, such as the emotional discomfort of violating social norms. We also know that individuals with high other regarding preferences or concern for others' well-being are more likely to comply. Economic factors like the fear of audits and fines also play a role at this level. Individuals tend to conduct a cost-benefit analysis when deciding whether to comply. If the risk of getting caught is high, or at least perceived as high, people are more likely to comply. Interestingly, carrots are more effective than sticks. That is, positive incentives such as rewards are more effective than punishments like fines. One important result is that while all kinds of carrots work better than sticks, non-financial incentives such as vouchers for a spa weekend work best of all in encouraging tax compliance, sometimes even more than equivalent cash rewards. Let's move now to the meso level, where social norms and group dynamics come into play. Of course, we do not make decisions in isolation. Our choices are shaped by our communities and the behavior of our peers. Studies show that when people see others complying with taxes, they are more likely to do the same. On the flip side, if we believe that others are evading taxes, we might be tempted to do the same. So it's not just about individual risk, but also about what others around us are doing. An experiment in Norway demonstrated this. Shortly before the deadline for finalizing annual tax returns, some individuals received a letter stating that the great majority of the country's taxpayers reported all their foreign income and assets. This minimal intervention nearly doubled the average amount of foreign income and assets reported by this group compared to those who received a more neutral letter. National identity and a sense of belonging also matter. For instance, when people feel a strong connection to their country, they are more likely to comply with tax laws. However, this doesn't work everywhere. in countries or cities with high levels of economic inequality and social fragmentation, appeals to national identity can be less effective. Finally, let's discuss the macro level, where the broader institutional factors come into play. At this level, people's trust in the government and institutions is crucial. People are more willing to pay taxes when they believe their money is well spent on services that enjoy broad public support and legitimacy, like public safety. If taxes are instead seen as being wasted or used corruptly, of course, compliance drops. Countries with strong institutions and consistent enforcement of tax laws tend to have higher compliance. So people need to feel the system is fair and that tax evaders will face consequences. Interestingly, whistleblower programs where citizens can report tax evasion are becoming a key strategy for boosting compliance. These programs are cost-effective, but also increase public trust in tax system. Experimental studies show that many individuals willingly participate in reporting tax evaders, even without financial rewards, or even at their own personal expenses. In conclusion, tax compliance is shaped by a complex mix of factors at the micro, meso, and macro levels. Understanding these factors allows governments to design more effective policies, but also helps us understand how economic behavior is influenced by not just laws, but also by our society and institutions. The literature on tax compliance is vast, with several important reviews, like those by Mascagni 2018, Alm 2019, and more recently Guerra and Harrington 2022. This week's lesson will focus on the most recent chapter, Guerra and Harrington 2022, which examines individuals' actual tax compliance, not just individuals' attitudes, called tax morale. This chapter focuses on research that identifies causal relationships, not just correlations, primarily through experimental studies. The experimental method here is crucial for two main reasons. First, because in the real world, tax compliance can't be directly observed as it happens, and data are difficult to collect. Second, experiments allows us to isolate specific factors, like audit rates or penalties, that influence tax compliance decisions. However, of course, experimental methods have limitations, such as concerns about external validity. Recent research has addressed this concern through large-scale field experiments, but also with a mix of lab, field, and online experiments, as well as a combination of experimental and administrative data. These recent studies mostly confirm older findings, but with more sophisticated data gathering strategies. And this highlights new avenues for future research, including machine learning techniques.